What's up, you bunch of nerds? Back here with another comic book review. This time I'm going to be reviewing this quick 3-issue limited series run of this King in Black Thunderbolts series. I know I said I was going to steer clear of all the King in Black tie-in stuff, all that useless flood the shelf stuff. But you know what? And I was really like, this stuff's written, these 3 issues are written by Matthew Rosenberg. He's really hit and miss. He's a really hit and miss writer. He's been at Marvel for a while now. And I defend him a lot. I defend him a lot because he did this very okay 5 issues of Astonishing X-Men with Havoc leading the team. And but then he did Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order Dark Temple, which was a tie-in to the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order game, which was great. I loved that series. That was really good. So I stick up for him a lot. He does a lot of crap. I'm not going to get into that stuff, but he's really hit and miss. And let me tell you, this series is a mess. I'm going to get into why. The art is pretty good. Art is pretty competent. But the last straw to break the camel's back for me to fold and get these were the covers, especially that issue 1 cover. That got me really pumped because I was like, what an interesting team of characters. You know, I love Taskmaster and Rhino. Batroc and Mr. Fear I haven't seen in a while. Mr. Fear, Daredevil villain. Star, I don't know anything about because she's a new character. Recently introduced in Captain Marvel, but I was like, hey, cool, Captain Marvel as a villain now. So I just like that team. It has nothing to do with the Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts is a very well-established property before, and but you know what? I like this team. I want to see them work together. I want to see them in this quick little mission. It's only 3 issues, so it's nothing big to commit to. Look at that issue 2 cover. I know this isn't matching the thumbnail. That's because I got this issue 2 variant cover drawn by this sweet Marco Cicchetto art of Star right here. I don't know anything about her, but she looks like a knockout right here, drawn by Marco Cicchetto. It's even really cool in the mouth of this symbiote dragon. Awesome picture right there. So I'm going to get into this now with issue 1. Basically, for those of you who don't know, Kingpin is the mayor of New York City right now. It's been that way since King in Black. And that's made the way for some pretty cool stories right now. Got art by Juan Ferreyra, and he's a good artist. I think last I saw him, he did this Flood the Shelf Spider-Man Noir series. I believe he does his own colors and inking as well. Very good art, very competent art. And basically opens with Kingpin saying the Thunderbolts are dead, and is given this message to the media saying they'll always be remembered as heroes and blah blah blah. And then it jumps back to a few days earlier of him forming the team. Really strange dialogue from him. Matt Rosenberg wrote a Kingpin miniseries a few years ago, and I wonder, it's like, did he write the Kingpin to talk like this? He doesn't really talk in character. You know, I hear Vincent D'Onofrio's voice when I read his dialogue, and it doesn't really line up to me. I couldn't imagine his voice saying these words. But anyway, you got this team, they're all sitting here, and he pretty much puts them together and says Star is going to kill Null. You're all going to kill Null, but the only one who has a chance at killing him is Star, and so the rest of you guys just keep her alive. Of course, you know, this comic came out a little bit ago. King in Black is wrapped up now. Spoiler alert, Null's been defeated. So obviously we already know Star isn't going to be the one to defeat him. But, you know, I just got around to reviewing this series. But basically, and I don't know who this is, Incendiary, he looks kind of cool. Let me know in the comments if he's an actual villain for someone, or if he was just made up for this book. And another likely made up for this book character named Ampede with electric powers. And basically I'm wondering, like, why are all these villains not just rushing the Kingpin right now? The Rhino alone could take the Kingpin. So I don't know why they don't just beat him up or kill him, and then you know, then they're free. Then they're all free men. So it's kind of weird to me. Like, look at the screen. You got the Rhino literally raising his hand like a child and asking the Kingpin a question. And it's just, this is so out of character. This is goofy already. Basically, he gives them a mission to go find someone who's going to tell him how to kill Null. I don't remember Mr. Fear looking like this with this elongated skull, but I think they did that to help differentiate him from Taskmaster more. Pretty much Kingpin has 2 stipulations: that they have to go and do their mission unmasked, which is just so stupid. Why would you? I never want to see Taskmaster without his mask. So that's already really dumb looking. and that they wear the rest of their costumes, not wear the masks, because as the mayor, he made vigilantes illegal, and so they are representatives of the mayor now, so they gotta act likewise. And also, the other stipulation is that they have to go by the Thunderbolts. Why? Because the Kingpin owns the copyright to the name. That is stupid. That is stupid. I was honestly really curious on why they're going by the Thunderbolts, and that is their lame, probably joke of a reason. There are actual Thunderbolts fans who probably got this book expecting it to be the legit new team of Thunderbolts. And, Kurt Busiek and Mark Bagley started something special in the 90s with the first team of Thunderbolts. They were villains who actually wanted to be good guys, and there's a lot of people who love that series. I didn't get into the Thunderbolts till a few years ago with that original team lineup, but it was written by Jim Zub and art by John Malin, and that got me into the Thunderbolts. I was like, this is cool. This has nothing to do with the Thunderbolts, so that was a pretty lame reason. And really good creepy image of the city right there. So this artist seems to know what he's doing. I love the perspective, how small they are compared to these buildings. Everything's creepy with the symbiote sludge acting like cobwebs on everything. The city looks abandoned now. Everyone's freaked out. So they get over here. Oh, look at this. Mr. Fear's the very bad comic relief in this series. He says they stand for justice and hope, and then calls them the Hope League. That is just one of many kind of jabs at DC, or just tongue-in-cheek jokes that really fall flat. And pretty much right away, their teleporter, who's this snake lady. You wouldn't think a snake lady has teleportation powers. Pretty sure she's already made up. Mr. Fear bends over to pick up a coin, and then a symbiote dragon misses him and gets the snake lady. So now they have no way of getting closer to Null. And they have a pretty good little fight with this symbiote dragon. And you see here, Star cannot shoot through its translucent wing here. Mr. Fear gasses the dragon real quick, and then she shoots through its head easily. How can she not shoot through its thin, translucent wing, but then is able to shoot through a head with skull and teeth and all of that? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You got it right here. Ampede tries to just walk away, so Mr. Fear kills him. And then Taskmaster pretty much says, hey, no one's walking out on this team. Rhino taps him on the head and just tells him, hey, I'm leaving. And Taskmaster says, sure. It's so stupid. Star asks him, like, why'd you just let him leave? He's like, I didn't want him to stomp on me. It's like, that was so lame. I thought that was a fake out because he's on the cover. He's a member of this team. He was a big draw for me. I'm not kidding. That's the last we see of him. The Rhino's gone. That was so stupid. What a disappointment. Huge letdown. It worked on me. They just put the Rhino quickly in this book just to get suckers like me, or to make a cooler Kyle Hotz cover. So definite bummer right there. They pretty much they loot Ampede's weapons. Taskmaster and Batroc get an upgrade, and then get this really cool shot of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist fighting in the city, fighting these Null symbiotes. Then right here, Star has this bit where she says, hey, we're good guys now, we should lend him a hand. And then Mr. Fear refers to them as those three jokers. Those three jokers. Matthew Rosenberg is a flood the shelf writer whose comics we forget about the second after it hits the stands. He wishes he could write something that was as successful as Batman 3 Jokers. So that was last year's most successful comic, if I'm not mistaken. So that joke bothered me. Yeah, that's a really good image of this symbiote just looking creepy and kneeling here on his knee. That's a good picture. They dispatch it really easily. They find out that was Ampede's body. You got Batroc whining like a effeminate, little girl. There's a man inside Venom. And then Taskmaster tells him they're symbiotes. Venom came to Earth disguised as Spider-Man's old costume, but now he lives on some bro named Eddie. Some bro named Eddie. Taskmaster talks like that. And then Batroc says, Venom is Spider-Man's laundry? Oh my gosh. If your goal is to make me not respect or fear Batroc whatsoever, you're succeeding. But anyway, Then we have the Thunderbolts literally running away and screaming in fear, including Mr. Fear, which is ironic. You get a good Batroc moment of him kicking these symbiotes with his new electric kicks, I guess. They run over here, and Taskmaster quickly hotwires a boat. This part, for all you Taskmaster fans out there, I know you're out there. There's some fans of Taskmaster. She says, you know how to hotwire this thing? He says, no, but I'm a fast learner. Go help. I'm a fast learner? I'm fast learner. His powers are literally photographic memory. You don't just figure out how to do something like that, but if he's seen someone do it, then he could do it just as well. That's his thing. That's the thing. That's the thing that you don't have to redo a whole page for some quick rewrites after the editor tells you something doesn't make sense. You just got to change what's in the little talk bubble. You change the dialogue a little. It's that easy to make your comic go from suck to good. All he has to say is, I've seen someone do it one time. And then we know what Taskmaster's powers are. We know that means that he's seen someone hotwire a boat so he can do it. So stupid. Does Matt Rosenberg not even know what his powers are? But anyway, just moving on. Then Batroc does this very impressive leap all the way from the dock and then onto the boat. I know he's Batroc the Leaper, and he does very amazing like somersaults and flips and stuff. I didn't know he had superhuman jumping powers. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe Matthew Rosenberg thinks he does, so he made that a thing now. But that definitely caught me by surprise. And you know, even Star is wondering, like, where's Batroc? And, you know, being concerned for him. She's kind of the most heroic acting of this whole team. She could have very quickly and easily flew over to the dock and got him and brought him back. But that actually just would have made it, that would have just enforced the feeling that it already has, that she's just here to show everyone up. So, I don't know. I guess I'll accept it if I just accept that Batroc has these very incredible Superman leaps all of a sudden. Anyway, they get to Ravencroft, the mental asylum. That's mostly in the Spider-Man comics. Mr. Fear has this lame joke about how he never thought he'd end up here on purpose, and just a lot of wasted space. You know, and this comic actually is where most of the stuff happens. Like, at least stuff happened. They get to Norman Osborn. He was the guy that they were sent to get to. And all of them looking freaked out in his eye. That's just, you know, that was issue 1, basically. So, to comfort you, the most happened in issue 1. As for these two, nothing, barely anything happened. So I'm going to burn through these really quick. Okay, so now we got Thunderbolts issue 2. Pretty much opens with these D-listers walking through the hall with Norman Osborn, and Mr. Fear sees a Bushman, the Moon Knight villain over there. He says he's never heard of any of these guys, which is funny because a lot of people probably have never heard of Mr. Fear either. And then they link up with Kingpin on the laptop. I'm going to mention that again later. I thought that because of the city being taken over, that Kingpin lost touch with Norman Osborn. But basically, then, you know, look at that evil grin right there. That's well drawn. That's good inking work. And he tells Taskmaster to punch Mr. Fear in the face for being such an idiot. And he basically tells the team that Taskmaster is their leader now. He points Taskmaster as the leader, even though he's already been acting as the leader all the way up to this point. And then there's this bit right here where Mr. Fear walks by this character I've never heard of named Figment, makes a joke about how, oh, you don't remember me? I slept on your couch for a week. It's like, that is so lame. Why, if it is your goal to make Mr. Fear as lame as you can, then you're accomplishing it. You know, you got Batroc doing a very impressive kick to Mr. Fear's head right there. You get this good shot of a symbiote dragon blowing up a trap, and it's kind of hanging there, basically dead, hanging through the roof, and all the symbiote goo starts infecting some of the inmates. So it's fight time. Taskmaster finally tells them to mask up, which is, you know, about time. But then I get a good look at what Taskmaster looks like in this series. That is so lame. That is the lamest look I've ever seen. Minus his look in the upcoming Black Widow movie. It's like, why couldn't you just keep his mask as a regular skull look? That armored helmet mask is so dumb looking. But anyway, then we get this little double page splash of the fight. As you can see, they're definitely killing these symbiotes. And this main one, this big guy, they make a joke about how he's a D-list villain called the Night Scrubber. And then they kind of bounce him back and forth between all of them before Star just explodes him. But then later, right here, she says that she wants to save people. Even though you just murdered someone. It's so annoying. And especially because somewhere along here, Taskmaster does acknowledge that they are people wearing these suits. So they bust out the rest of the inmates. You see Man-Bull right there, or some of the inmates, I guess. Cut to them driving a bus. They hit this symbiote-infected deer, which I guess was funny when they were planning this comic book. But I was thinking, like, man, PETA is going to be on this book. They just murdered a deer. That deer was wearing a symbiote. And basically, Taskmaster knows what to do. I think Kingpin let him know what to do on the laptop, or Norman. I think Norman told him what to do. So basically tells Star, and this scene where she rescues the bus, rescues everyone, and basically tells Star to go and swim out and retrieve the body of, and it's this reveal here, even though before we see the reveal, Mr. Fear spoils the reveal and says the Sentry, as we saw in the first issue of King in Black, we saw the Sentry appear, get in one good hit on Null, and then get ripped in half. So we already know it's going to be on the next page. So stupid how they spoiled the reveal. Yes, Sentry got ripped in half. That's his lower torso. It would have been nice if they surprised me with that. I don't know why they gave away the surprise the page before. And by the way, the Norman Osborn reveal at the beginning of the first issue was completely worthless. Because if Norman Osborn told him, here's the plan, you got to get Sentry's body, because even though he's dead, it still has a ton of energy still stored up inside, and that's enough to take out Null. But if Kingpin sent him on the mission to go retrieve that information, but still had communication with him, why didn't Kingpin just originally tell this team, go get Sentry's body? That was just a complete waste of time. Ugh. Okay, finally getting to the last issue, Thunderbolts issue 3. Basically, issue 2, nothing even happened in issue 2. They drove a bus from Ravencroft to Sentry's body. And you might be saying, like, oh, doesn't that Sentry-shaped S and this explosion on the cover give away that surprise you were mentioning at the end? It's like, no, because when I first saw this cover, I thought that was Miss Marvel's logo. And because that would be, like, kind of expected that Carol Danvers would show up and save the day or whatever. But anyway, so judging from them using Sentry's body, they're going to basically use it as a bomb. So this issue opens up with the men on this team, Taskmaster, Mr. Fear, and Batroc, literally sitting around wasting time while the woman does all the work. So pretty lame right there. She goes and fishes out Sentry's upper torso. It's just flat jokes galore with Batroc having this weekend at Bernie's joke with Sentry's body, and Mr. Fear saying that they're on a suicide mission and calls them a squad, but then he calls them, we're a suicide team. Ah, yes, we get it. The Thunderbolts is basically Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad. You don't have to be that on the nose. Did you flood the shelf with this tripe just because there's a Suicide Squad movie coming out? So much of these jokes are pissing me off. Anyway, they drive the bus back into the city. Good shot of the city right there. They're gonna blow up Null's home. I thought the goal was to kill Null, not blow up his home, and I didn't know that a god of the symbiotes needed a little home when he just turned the entire Earth into his home. And it's that little ball on the top of that building. God, I can hear how mad I'm getting over the course of reviewing these. Basically, blah, blah, blah. You know, there's Fool Killer, but, you know, some of the inmates that they rescued from Ravencroft, they get infected and have to fight him. Taskmaster, with his upgrade with the electricity powers, he's pretty much just waving his sword at people. He's not using his powers at all. He's not using his photographic memory to do like some Daredevil somersaults or some Captain America shield throwing. or some impressive Spider-Man acrobatics. Those are all things Taskmaster should be doing, and he's not. He's just kind of worthless. Even this shot right here, the first thing I thought of when I saw this is that is the same as the promo image they've been using for the new Suicide Squad movie. All of them standing in a row together, walking toward us. It's like, why do you keep doing that? Anyway, this really odd part right here where Taskmaster's fighting one of the symbiotes, he says, "I'm assuming you used to be a person under there. Sorry to whoever you are." So he literally acknowledges that is a human being that he's fighting, and then he proceeds to stab it through the head. Not very heroic. Not very good writing. Not digging that at all. Then Star comes back and saves him because he was gonna, while they go and blow up Noel's house, he was going to hold back the symbiotes, but then she came back to save Tasky because they're all frenzies now, and she's just mowing through these guys. They get to the bridge, basically all this crap happens, and then Taskmaster says, go up there and I'll hold him off basically again. And then he calls up the Kingpin, even though there's symbiotes everywhere. Does this bit where he rips off his face, like he was wearing a face on his face, and pretty much he was working in cahoots with the Kingpin the whole time to pretty much make sure the mission was a success, but the explosion from Sentry's body is going to be so large it's going to kill all the Thunderbolts. So Taskmaster is basically getting paid to kill his teammates, and Kingpin's just like, yeah, you're cool with that, right? But then they come up here, and Taskmaster is not cool with it. He busts through their barricade and says, "Get Star back over here." It's like, oh, she's too far away. We can't tell her now. So then Batroc uses Mr. Hyde's face to jump off of and do another one of his amazing, impressive leaps, and goes to grab Star, likely to grab a hold of her and warn her that the bomb is going to kill them too. And then it cuts to Kingpin, and right now, currently, if you're reading the Daredevil comic, Typhoid Mary is his head of security, although she does not look like this in the Daredevil book. Have some continuity, people. And basically, they see the explosion, and but basically, it clearly didn't reach his house, or Noel's home, his bubble thing, because she says the bubble's still there. And Kingpin's like, yeah, that's okay. Like, I know the heroes are going to beat Noel somehow. I just needed something to throw out the media to show that I did something. So all that was just, basically for optics. And then it cuts to the beginning of issue 1 of him pretty much giving that statement that the Thunderbolts died. But then, predictably so, they walk through the door right there. They're fine. They lived. And turns out that Figment character that they broke out of Ravencroft. So that ended up being a little important, that Taskmaster did have to get convinced to rescue those people, those inmates. She has the power to create illusions, so she just created the illusion that there was a big, massive scale explosion. And basically it ends on this note like, yeah, we're the new Thunderbolts. And Mr. Fear saying, I love this job. No, not very inspiring, not very cool. Not feeling it at all. Basically, that's kind of the end of it. Very, no impact from this series. I read King in Black just fine. No one had to read this series to understand the King in Black series whatsoever. Pretty much there's no humanity or character with any of these characters. Matt Rosenberg, please write these characters with some humanity, Matt. And they were just satirical cartoon versions of themselves. Come to think of it, Juan Ferreyra's art even made it look kind of like a Mad Magazine satire, sketch of itself. And all of them, they didn't even use their skill set, quote unquote, and they were just completely interchangeable. And also, what was the point of Taskmaster ripping off his face? Matt wrote like he didn't care, and if he didn't care, why should we care? Much like his characters, his writing is interchangeable with a ton of other writers in the industry right now, and like I would be hard pressed to find anything different about this from like a Vita Ayala book or something, and. This is not how we win our fight to increase comic sales and and bring in new audience and please the old audience, bring in new readers and take the fight to manga. And this is not how we do it. So this is just definite flood the shelf stuff, not a recommend. Cover is the best part to every issue of these. So thanks for watching. I'm gonna go read an old comic now. I gotta read some old stuff sometimes to counterbalance this crap. Thanks for watching. Bye.